washed. Lewis Hamilton washed. Midfield Hamilton, my ass. Mercedes is back. So a lot of people have been talking mad shite about fucking Hamilton and Mercedes, and I gotta say, some of it was deserved, but most of it now, I don't know about that one. They're not washed anymore. In the beginning of the year, before the Bahrain Grand Prix, they were talking. They're talking their car up so much. They're like, "Oh, this is gonna be so good," and then they get into practices, and it turns out to be complete utter shite. But we moved to Bahrain. So we start off the season in Bahrain. We get into Q. They do complete utter shit. Then the race happens and nothing happens. It's just complete utter shit. So back to the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix where they do complete utter shit. But some things do happen. They fucked up in qualifying as per usual in Mercedes fashion. But you know what? The only major thing that happened was they basically didn't really move position except Russell. But Hamilton managed to pit in a yellow flag. Big mistake, but Ferrari didn't really tell anyone that he was pitting. So Ferrari managed to fuck it up and let Hamilton keep his 5th place. The race ended there as a 4th, 5th finish for Mercedes. So the shit show managed to continue when Alonso got a 10-second penalty at the end of the race, dropping him down to 4th and Russell back into 3rd. But then it continued to get worse when they appealed it and they won, which then Russell had to give up his podium spot for Mercedes, back down to 4th place for Alonso to get back up to 3rd place. A complete utter shit show, I know. But which leads us to another shit show, also called the Australian Grand Prix this year. So we had great, there's a lot of copium going on. Russell and Hamilton both started, I believe, 3rd and 4th, or they started 2nd and 3rd. It's somewhere around there. Don't worry about it. It's somewhere around there. But there's a lot of hopium. The race starts, great racing. So we go into turn 1. Verstappen and Hamilton are fighting for that 1st place. Hamilton remembers he's an 7-time world champion. I almost fucked that one up. And was fighting for Verstappen 2nd. He ends up winning, going to 1st, leading the race. Ferrari does what Ferrari does best, and Charles decided to drive his car into a wall, causing a yellow flag. He started crying as per usual. Then what happened is Al Capone decided to crash into a barrier, and Verstappen took back 2nd due to that. Russell then pits when a safety car also comes up because of Al Capone, dropping down to 7th place, which a red flag then ensued. Russell then caught on fire, cucking himself yet again. After another restart, the Starbucks drinks car managed to crash into each other the last lap. Another restarted happened, and then after the FIA had an aneurysm trying to redo the grid, Hamilton ended up finishing 2nd and Russell was still on fire, managing for a DNF. Not the best start, but we had some copium there, some hopium too. But as we now know, Baku happens. The sprint race then happens. Russell then decides to throw his car into the side of Hamilton's car because, and I quote, he was trying to kill all Bloods since he is a certified Crip member, as we all know. The hostile NPC then confronts Russell, as we all know, and passive-aggressive comments then ensue like it's an episode of The Real Housewives. Russell then, still thinking he's playing Mario Kart, still looking for more red shells to hit, or a blue shell to hit with Perez, but still managed to not find anything. Whilst he was in his journey in the back of the midfield, he managed to find the Kunduz Children's Hospital that Obama bombed. They then placed 6th and 8th place. Shit. Moving on to the Cringe Fest, also known as Miami. Hamilton starts 13th, and Russell starts 6th. No surprise there. Complete utter shit. Nothing really happens except for the Cringe Fest, and this terrible intro. Hamilton finishes himself off with a 6th place finish, and Russell with a 4th place finish. Complete utter shit. But then we move to Monaco, the most exciting race there is in F1. After Mercedes was done suffering from copium and hopium from the last couple of months, they decided to finally stick a pole up their asses, and finally give in and add side pods back in the car by stealing Red Bull's design as per usual. But then, after a sheer miracle, Perez tries to pull what he did last year and crash his car into a barrier again. But this time it was not on purpose. Perez's car then got a medevac into the air, which we then thankfully got to see the bottom of their car, which then Mercedes took notes on. Race starts with Hamilton in 6th place and Russell in 8th place. Surprisingly, complete utter shit. Once the game was getting unbearably boring, the game makers decided to add rain into the script, which then allowed a 1-2 finish for Mercedes in 4th and then 5th place. Improvement. Then we have Spain. After some minor adjustments to the floor of the Mercedes car, and some more side pod action. That's so bad. Q2, Perez has a stroke and manages to fuck himself into the barrier yet again for a second week. Russell decides to suicide on the side of Hamilton, causing Hamilton's wing to basically get a slight amputation. Russell then managed to cuck himself from that, dropping down into 7th, also getting eliminated in Q2. Norris manages to do something for once, getting 2nd. So the race basically began. Norris decided he didn't want to be in 2nd place and drops down to 8th place. Daddy's Money manages to pass Hamilton, leading into 3rd. Russell then passes Daddy Alonso. Hamilton remembers that there's a mentally deranged man and challenged man in front of him, manages to pass him, leading him into 3rd. Russell fights Esteban Acorn for what seems to be an hour and manages to get past him for once. Hamilton then sees a Ferrari and gets worried, but he remembers it's a Ferrari and it's only about time until they fuck it up, which they managed to not do. He just drove right past Carlos. Russell also passes the Ferraris yet again. Hamilton 3rd and Russell 2nd managed to stay in the race lead like this for the whole entire race after the beginning. After really nothing happened, Verstappen managed to win by 24 seconds yet again for another race for like the 20th fucking time. Now, if you ask me, the conclusions here are quite simple. Ferrari are fucking idiots, as we all know. Verstappen and Red Bull, clearly cheating, can go fuck themselves. And Mercedes have managed to really make one of the best comebacks we have seen in this season so far, due to some inconvenience of others. You know what they say, one man's loss is another man's treasure, thanks to Perez,